This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition. Welcome to the Healthy and Family Show. Each episode features interviews with doctors, experts, and real moms revealing their secrets on how to keep you and your whole family holistically healthy. Your host is David A. Stone, award-winning movie producer, Amazon best-selling author, certified moringa grower, and founder of CompleteNutra.com, Whole Family Nutrition, which is committed to providing the highest quality, science-backed, non-GMO, all-natural nutritional supplements to keep your whole family healthy. Here's David.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is David A. Stone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Healthy and Family Show. If you're tuning in today, that means that you believe that the health and wellness of your family should be top priority, but maybe you're a little bit confused with all the conflicting health advice out there. So the goal of this show is to introduce you to the doctors, experts, and real moms that have the tips, tricks, and tactics that can help you lead a more healthy life and help your whole family lead a more healthy life. And so if you watched any of the other episodes, Dr. Jessie Keener has been a constant guest on this show so far, and I think she's going to continually be a good guest because Dr. Jessie has opened up my eyes on so many different things regarding holistic health and how to be holistically healthy. And today we're actually going to be talking about something that is extremely relevant. We're going to be getting under the covers a little bit of 5G and radio waves and EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, and what we can do to protect ourselves. Because the world is changing, the world is shifting, but there are things that we can do to protect ourselves. Today, Dr. Jessie is going to be educating us on some essential knowledge that we must know in order to protect our body, to protect our mind, to protect our physical health from radio waves and microwaves and other things that do not allow our body to heal. In fact, they produce something called free radicals. And free radicals are what rust our cells or create oxidation within our cells, which lead to cancer. And this is why at Complete Nutra, we offer the Complete Turmeric, which I talked to you about before, because the Complete Turmeric provides so many antioxidants, and antioxidants fight free radicals. Now, there's another essential formula that I want to talk to you about today, and this is Complete Essential 6. And the reason I want to mention this today because D3 and K2 are very important ingredients. Now, vitamin D, there's many reasons for us to be taking and supplementing vitamin D. And one of the main reasons is that we do not get enough vitamin D from the sun. Now, that's how we get vitamin D as people, is we go outside and we get sun exposure. When the UVB rays of the sun hit our skin, our body makes vitamin D. Here's the problem. Science is finding that most people are deficient in vitamin D. Now, this might be for a few reasons, but maybe we're not going outside as much as we used to. Maybe we're wearing more sunscreen, because when we wear sunscreen, we actually don't allow the UVB rays of the sun to hit our skin and interact with our body, and that's how our body produces the vitamin D, is from the UVB rays of the sun hitting our skin and interacting. So if we wear sunscreen, we're blocking that interaction and we are not allowing our body to produce vitamin D. And another thing is, we are taught to be so afraid of the sun that everybody just covers up all the time when they're outside a lot of times. And so if you're covering up all the time when you're in the sun, you are not getting vitamin D. So studies are showing that most of us are deficient in vitamin D, so we need to be supplementing vitamin D every single day. This is called Complete Essential 6 for a few reasons. The first reason is because D3 and K2 together work synergistically to not only transport calcium out of the arteries, but it transports that calcium into the bones. So a lot of times people that have heart problems have hard arteries, and that's because the calcium that they've been eating in their diet, or whatever calcium that they're getting, does not get transported to the right place. And this is what K2 does. K2 helps transport calcium from your arteries into your bones. So it helps not only lower blood pressure, but also helps increase bone density and bone strength. So D3 and K2 are very essential. And this is why this is called Essential 6. They're essential to our body functions, our core main body functions, the way our blood flows throughout our body and provides nutrients to our entire body. So that's why D3 and K2 are so essential for our entire body. Now, these are the 6 things that are on the label that it does. It supports bone health, healthy heart support, assists your immune system, weight management assistance, supports mental health, and supports sexual health. Now, a lot of those reasons are because when your blood flow is increased and able to flow more freely, instead of having high blood pressure, you have low blood pressure, and your blood is able to just flow freely through your body. And that benefits all of these functions. So there's many other reasons why all these functions are benefited, but that's also not everything that's in our formula. We also have an additional ingredient, which you've heard before, which is also in our turmeric, is BioPerine. BioPerine is a black pepper extract, and this also helps absorption into our body. So this is the highest absorption product that you're going to find on the market. Do your research, but D3, K2 is something that you need to be taking every single day. Now, the doses that we have here, you can take 1 in the morning and you can take 1 in the evening. Now, if you have some kind of a bone density issue or an osteoporosis, you can double this up and you can actually quadruple this up. So if you want to take 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning, 2 in the evening or 4 in the evening, you can do that also. This is not something that you can overdo it if you do like way too much, but really don't go above 4 each time. But the idea is you need D3 and you need K2 in your body for essential body function and body health. So I just wanted to mention that because this, coupled with the turmeric and coupled with their complete brain and focus formula, pack a powerhouse punch. So if you want to support our guest today and also support your health at the same time, go to CompleteNutra.com, fill up your cart with some incredible formulas like Complete Essential 6, Complete Turmeric, and Complete Brain and Focus Formula. And when you fill up your cart at checkout, enter this code, Dr. Keener 20. That's DrKeener 20. And you're going to get 20% off your entire order. So thank you so much for watching. And I'm really excited because right now we're going to be getting into why EMFs affect our health and what we can do about it. And Dr. Jessie's going to be lifting the covers on 5G so we can understand it a little bit more fully and see really what the whole point of this 5G situation is, and if we can figure out some other technology that we can use that may be faster in the future. But let's get right into the conversation. So welcome, Dr. Jessie Keener. Thanks for being here, Dr. Jessie.
You bet. It's such a pleasure, Dave.
So today we are going to be talking about 5G, EMFs, and I'm not really sure where this is going to go, but I kind of just really want to, I know I've been hearing a lot about it and that it's negative and stuff. So I kind of just want to get your take on the whole 5G situation and how is it supposedly affecting our health?
Right. And we're going to start at the beginning with that because it's a very important topic. But I do find, like you, most people really don't know anything about what an EMF is. An EMF stands for electromagnetic frequencies.
Okay.
And we certainly don't understand the hazards of 3G and 4G, which are abundant in our world right now. So let's start at the beginning.
Okay.
The truth of and this is going to be just straight shooting. The truth of the matter is, for all life forms that are mammals that we know of, humans for sure, there is no real safe electrical grid. Not in the home, not in our schools, not in our buildings. These vibrational frequencies apparently are harmful to mammals. The reason we don't talk about it, hear about it, read about it, aren't taught about it in school is because the powers that be don't really want us knowing that even though this serves a valid purpose, they don't want us to know that it's actually harmful. So 100 years ago, when houses were starting to be wired with electricity, this would have been, something they didn't have the science to tell. Now we have the science to tell. So the problem with electricity is it generates a field that over time creates free radical damage to cells, inflammation to the body. That's okay, though, because this was all started before the advent of things like computers, cell phones, microwave ovens, appliances, refrigerators. And I know this might sound like a shock, Dave, but I'll tell you what, refrigerators are huge emitters of EMF fields. Wow. So what am I saying? Yeah. What am I saying? I'm saying as we became more advanced as human beings, sadly, our environment, our actual homes and our workplaces and our schools and our universities, libraries, they all became more and more toxic to us. Many, many different ways, but one of which is intense amounts of electrical fields. Then you start putting up cell phone towers. Then you start putting up satellites in space beaming down. Again, this is all before 5G, just so we're clear here. And now you have a real problem. But you're not going to see our government agencies talking about this yet. This is probably as good a time as any for your audience to understand my perspective on this, which is the powers that be don't want us learning about this. They don't want government agencies getting to the truth of this because this keeps us weaker. This keeps us more physically challenged. And this is a way of controlling us. And that's just the bottom line.
Wow.
We will find out in our lifetime, Dave, in fact, that there are technologies already in place way better than what we're using right now, where you could have all of the benefits that we have with our modern electrical fields and everything else, but none of the downside.
Wow.
So, yes. So when I came into this field, remember those of you that have seen my story, I came in through the back door. I was a sick patient, downtrodden, losing it literally, right? And I remember my doctor, Dr. Teresa Dale, saying to me that there were real problems with EMFs. This was 1984. And she was not a major pioneer. She was a pioneer, but there were already, people that knew about this and it was getting talked about. So she told me, and this is again one of those shockers, like your refrigerator can be really bad for you because of the engine running all the time. She said, Jessie, never use a microwave oven. Don't be around microwave ovens when they're running. You need to be at least 12, if not 20 feet away from a microwave. So when you go to restaurants, she said, you might want to find out like what's going on behind the scenes there. And, and that's really sad, but it's really true.
I've heard people say they have to be safe. I mean, they're selling them like they're in everybody's homes. Like I don't have a microwave, but a lot of people do. And they use it every day.
Yes, they do, because they rely on our government agencies to keep us safe. And that is not what's happening with government agencies. There's a big word called lobbying. Lobbying is what takes care of those details. And I'm speaking kind of in tongue here a little bit for a reason. But the reality is, no, these things are not safe. And the government agencies that oversee these things are not safe for us because they don't have our best interest in mind. They have money in mind. They know where their funding comes from.
Right.
So we're at a point right now where before 5G even rolls out, we have health hazards happening because of EMFs, electrical fields, microwaves, radio waves, and all these things. And I thought, just for fun, Dave, earlier today, I was thinking about our show, and I said, I'm going to get on a famous browser called Google, and I'm going to Google harmful effects of electromagnetic fields. And it literally went through the whole thing. And it said the only ones that we know are harmful are basically X-rays if you're exposed too much. I mean, there was nothing where a person could go and say, your cell phone may be harmful. No, it was basically saying our government agencies agree that these things are safe. So part of the importance of a show like this and other shows, but this one in particular, is we're talking about things that people need to learn that they won't learn in other places. Mm-hmm. You're not going to learn that your microwave isn't safe on mainstream media. Mm-hmm. You're not going to learn that from your internist or your gynecologist. You're just not. So the reality is these cause inflammation in the body. They're in the top of my field. They're known to cause inflammation, brain inflammation, disruptions, depression. It's
now,
really
is it because they basically it's energy moving through space, which actually moves through our bodies, really
through our bodies, and the different wavelengths are what really matter, and that's the problem. The problem is that most of these modern conveniences that we use generate the wrong kind of wavelength. And again, it's hard to find that out unless you have access to the research and you have ways of finding things out that might not be on Google.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it was as deep. I was like kind of more like, oh, 5G is bad. 5G is the thing that's coming in.
5G is going to make everything else look like child's play. I agree. So 5G
but
is going to be...
we didn't realize that everything else before this, it feels safe. Feels like it's been safe. You know
Correct,
what I mean?
Because our government let us have it. They wouldn't want to harm us, would they? So the reality is, no, it's not safe, but we're used to it. These are the conveniences we're dependent on. And unless an alternative is put in our hands pretty immediately, it's going to be hard to disrupt us.
It's really very difficult to think that Dr. Mercola said that we're going to find out. He said we're going to find out in about 20 years that our cell phones are worse for us than cigarettes.
Worse than anything. And that's the latest. Yes, the latest is that strong electromagnetic frequency toxicity. That's actually the term now. You become toxic with these waves. But that's actually as dangerous to the health as smoking. So this is not a little thing. But if we use smoking as an example, Dave, how long did it take for the tobacco companies to be held accountable for the fact that this was dangerous?
They're still not necessarily being held accountable still.
So
they're still selling cigarettes.
Of how things work here. It's as one of my friends used to say, it's functionally dysfunctional.
And the cigarettes are way worse now than they were then too. They've actually just increased the amount of chemicals in cigarettes now. So, I mean, that's the thing about 5G that I'm understanding is it is so fast. Like what we're doing is we're trying to create the Internet of Things. And that's where 5G is necessary, not just for AI development, feeding more data through lines and satellites and going to Mars and all this stuff, Space Force. Like 5G is necessary or a technology that's as fast as 5G or faster. But that's the thing. They're going all in. And it does remind me of Tesla versus Edison because Tesla was talking about AC, alternating current with the wires, but he was also talking about wireless, which didn't get enacted because you can't charge for it. But then Edison was trying to do DC, which he was trying to run whole apartment complexes on battery power and stuff. It would have been a whole bunch of DC apartment or city blocks. And Tesla's like, that's not right. So in one sense, 5G is kind of like trying to run a city apartment complex on DC, direct current, like on a battery, instead of figuring out an AC way, an alternating current way to do the same thing.
CompleteNutra.com, whole family nutrition.
Hi, Dr. Jessie Keener here, and we're going to talk today about Essential 6. The reason this is called Essential 6 is literally because it's essential to your basic well-being. Its main superstar is vitamin D3 coupled with its synergistic cofactor K2. Why are these so important? Because they really support immune function, but science also has found out that this combination really supports sexual reproductive health, cardiovascular health, and in many, many clinical trials in clinical nutrition, we've seen that even disease reversal, things like Parkinson's, MS, etc., in higher doses of vitamin D3 than your daily allowance. This is your daily amount, which is 5,000 IUs of D3 with the exact correct cofactors. And if you're fighting something, say you're coming down with a cold, or if I feel like I'm coming down with something, a little sore throat, I'll actually increase this to 3 times a day for a total of 15,000 IUs. Do that for a few days in a row to kind of jumpstart the immune system, get things moving on the right track right away. So the interesting thing is that our doctors, our medical doctors, the AMA, really don't study clinical nutrition. So they're not the ones to go to for this information. You really have to work with people that have been trained in clinical nutrition and have read the trials and understand why things like vitamin D with K2 are so important. So again, Essential 6, it works in 6 different directions of the body's functions. Everyone, mom, dad, kids above the age of 12, everyone needs this, college kids for sure, so get your Essential 6.
CompleteNutra.com, whole family nutrition.
that is definitely number one. Get out in nature, immerse yourself in nature. And not just like for an hour, like Dave said, get out there and camp for a few days as much as you can. Get away from the cities, get away from the big energy grids. I think that's a great idea, Dave. Definitely, I approve that message.
Nice. And then if you can, do an experiment with your family and try like airplane mode day. And maybe do a electronic fast for the day with your whole family, like whoever's living in your house.
I agree.
So you say, guys, let's put our phones in a bucket, and we're putting the bucket in the fridge or somewhere else. And
maybe not the fridge.
Exactly, in the safe, and then nobody touches their phone.
Right.
Or we just learn how to actually control our impulses, and just. Anyways, I think there's just so much to this equation, but the 5G and EMFs, it just feels to me, I didn't realize that it's actually as bad as it is, like as far as radio waves in general, and just electric EMF, just the basic foundation of EMFs. But 5G is just like an open microwave. Just everything I hear about it, everything you're saying, everything really other than the people just completely disregarding it. The other media, for some reason, there's like the other side is saying it's fine. They're probably the ones invested in it. But see,
probably true.
They're gonna like take themselves out. Or they know.
They are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
we're going to see lots of cancer everywhere. Yeah. That's a for sure. And that's not that this is a consolation, but they're not immune from the effects of this. They're receiving the same stuff we're receiving. Right. So, I do think that we reap what we sow, and sometimes the sowing doesn't come right when we want it to for somebody else, but they get sowed at the end.
Here's the other cool thing is our bodies are meant to heal. Our bodies are healing machines, regenerative machines. So I did hear Dr. Mercola say another cool thing, that he said that if we do have some kind of a safe haven from EMFs, like we can create it in our house. If we want to take one of our bedrooms, there's this there's this metal paint you paint your walls and your ceiling with, and then you could ground the room so when you're in it, like your cell phone won't work. But if you could sleep in an environment, like, I mean, that's really taking it all the way. But
but if you're in a city, a tight inner city urban situation, you might really need that
with like because towers
just because
everywhere.
You don't have 5G in your home, if you're in an apartment complex and the guy next door has 5G, can you imagine?
Yeah.
So these little safe rooms are a great idea. But some people need it, Dave, because when I was in my big practice, I saw many cases of what we called environmental illness. These are people that are they're not sick with a disease because the AMA model doesn't acknowledge it, but they're sick. And the reason they're sick is they have been EMF'd to that point of sickness. So they can't go into a grocery store that has fluorescent lights. I've had more than one client contact my office and ask if I would meet with them outside in a place of their designation that they had to scout out first to make sure there were no big electrical currents near where we'd be sitting down and talking. I mean, I kid you not. So these are cases that the cutting edge sees, and they're real. And one of the big deals going on in their body, not the only thing, but one of the big factors would be constant EMF exposures. Now, when the body's toxic in heavy metals, the ramifications of the EMF exposures go up. In other words, it makes it more intense. The more EMF exposure, the more the metals aggravate the situation. The more EMF exposure, the more aggressive the pathogens become, like the viruses and the fungus and the bacteria. So it's like this perfect storm, I guess is the best way to describe it right now, where we have people living with a lot of electricity. We have more virulent viruses, hello, COVID-19, and maybe these are some dots that are connecting for people out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we can find a place that's a haven against this stuff, like whether it's in nature, you go camp and find your place. If it's your bedroom, or if it's just
the beach,
or find your haven, and the thing is, we need that more than we think. What Mercola was saying is, if we can actually kind of be in our haven every day, and then if we have to go into the signals, into all the EMFs, our body can regenerate as long as we can find respite from the waves.
Yes.
And we might even build some kind of an immunity to the waves if we do that and we're actually away from them and completely protected so our body can regenerate. Then we go into them. And the more we go into them, he's saying there's a possibility that our bodies might actually generate an immunity to these waves.
Yeah.
In a sense.
I think that's going to be true. I think that's definitely going to be true. So right now I'm living in the country on a horse farm. There is electricity in the house, but it's a 1910 built house. So whatever that wiring is, it's mostly minimal. Yeah. I can tell a big difference between living here and when I was living in Fort Lauderdale or living in Austin, Texas, just on the EMFs alone. So it's a great thing to get out of the house and get out in the country or get to the beach, get out on the water, get out on a lake. Yes. Just get out there.
So let's, there's another big topic that I want to hit with you on the next time we talk, if you don't mind. You already brought it up in the beginning, was vaccinations.
Oh, I would love to have this conversation with you because I got a lot to say about this because I again had great exposure with Dr. Dale in her practice. And so I think I have a few mind-blowing things to say.
Okay, let's talk about that because I think people need to know because right now we're in a very interesting time where 5G is possibly getting introduced, possible vaccinations are being talked about. But it's just
we've got them spraying the skies to try to control the weather, and they're using heavy metals, of course, which precipitate down, and we're affected by that. So we'll do vaccinations, and then we can do one on heavy metals after that.
Okay, yeah. Two great topics. Well, thanks again so much. This was such a great conversation.
You're so welcome. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do it again. And happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, you can see I have the flowers here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right.
Take care.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Healthy and Family Show. Visit our website at healthyandfamily.com. That's healthyandfamily.com to see what all the other doctors, experts, and real moms have to say about keeping your whole family healthy. This episode has been brought to you by CompleteNutro.com, Whole Family Nutrition, and aired on the Goldstone Network. People, Planet, Future.